Greetings, everybody. I'm Rich, and welcome to Rich Talk. Here on our Rich Talk YouTube channel, we're here sharing practical steps in how one can overcome roadblocks in their professional and personal development life. So, thank you very much for spending time with me, taking time out your day to come to this channel. So, also, I just want to solicit your subscription. So, if you are not subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and also click the bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can get notifications when we roll out new content and new videos, okay? So please sign up to subscribe rather to the channel. Also, if the information is valuable, share it with others. And also, if you have tips for topics, if you have topics that you would like us to go over, please feel free. Send us an email. Our email is actually in our YouTube channel about us. Feel free to send us an email and I'll go over it and we can see how we can incorporate that, okay? So today's topic, we're going to jump right in. Today's topic is a little bit unusual. It's something outside of the confines of what we usually do. Today's topic is actually coming from Canada. So shout out to Canada. We received a recommendation from Canada, and so we're going to do a talk on emotional intelligence. So for the person in Canada watching, thank you very much for the topic recommendation. So the topic is how to influence and lead effectively, right? So how to influence and lead effectively. So it's more of a different approach, a different approach from the typical totalitarian leadership. And so today's topic is going to talk about one leading and also collaboratively working with other persons, because we live in an information age, and so our dynamics are not of such where a person is working and they're just in their own bubble. Oftentimes you have to work with other people, and so this is why emotional intelligence is so critical, and we're going to talk about it a little bit today. So we have 3 points as we usually do, and we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes. So emotional intelligence, so we're going to actually define that. So emotional intelligence is extremely important. It has to do with the ability to identify and also manage your own emotions and other individuals' emotions. And so emotional intelligence is often, it has an acronym called EQ, right? So many people, they put such a high attention on IQ, being so smart, knowing all the right answers, being a valedictorian. Okay, we live in a society where people are thriving, people are winning, people are being champions, and oftentimes those individuals are not valedictorians, okay? Oftentimes those individuals do not have a very high IQ, but in many instances, these individuals have EQ. They know how to effectively work with people. And so the five principles that we're sharing here on Rich Talk and emotional intelligence's importance is: 1, be aware of your feelings and others. Very critical. 2, think before speaking. Oh man, I mean, it may sound very simple. It may sound so simple that everyone would do it, right? Oh my gosh, think before speaking. I mean, that is like so important. Next one, be authentic. Okay, not phony. People read between when we put up a very phony image. People can read that, right? Demonstrate empathy. That is very important. Demonstrating empathy and adulate others, meaning praise others. So being aware of your feelings when you are working in an environment where, you know, even if you're supervising someone, or even in your practice, in your business, if you're working with other people, think about it. If you had a really horrible morning, like coffee spilled all over your suit, right? Or your blouse, you know, maybe the bus drove by and all, and you know, all the water splashed on you. You just had a horrible morning. You need to be aware of the emotions that you're going through. Now, you may be laughing at me, but I'm very serious. You need to be aware of the activities that you're going through in your day and how your emotional state is. And you need to be aware of that emotional state that you're in when you're interacting with others, because oftentimes we take our frustrations, right, from even commuting to work, right, or even things at home, and we take it out on other individuals. Emotional intelligence, being aware, being very conscious and locked in to your own situation is very, very key. And also paying attention to other individuals, right? And so if someone is upset, say for example, your staff member just came in and they mentioned something to you, asked them how their day was, and they mentioned something to you, right? How upsetting something was. That may not necessarily be the wisest time to ask for that status report. Okay, let's just go to the meat and potatoes. Someone just mentioned to you that, I don't know, maybe their cat passed away, or I don't know, someone stepped on their corn, right? Stepped on their toe. And it's bothering them. Be emotionally intelligent to realize it may not be the best approach to ask this person for this report right now. Let me give them a little bit of time. These are things that are a part of an emotional intelligence, okay? And thinking before you speak, being authentic, you know, being a person of your word. You say something, right? Stick to your word. Don't say something that you do not mean. Properly manage people's expectations. Do not go above and beyond if that's not the intent, if that's not your desire, okay? So skill is insufficient. Emotional intelligence is key. The next point that we want to go over is empathize with others. Now, empathizing is not walking around crying and boo-hooing. You just got a box of tissues just waiting to just, you know, blow your nose, just, crying all over the place, right? No. Empathizing with others means not sympathy. It means to put yourself in the circumstance or the perspective of another person. So empathize means to be open, even though you may disagree, but to be very open to someone. Many times when there are breakdown in communication, even in a business partner relationship, or maybe a customer to service provider a relationship, or even in a work dynamic in the office, many times these situations are a breakdown in communications. And oftentimes a difficult, tense situation, the situation can be resolved by employing the desire to understand that other person's perspective. So they may feel like the wall should be painted a particular color. You may think it should be painted gray, right? But hear what the person has to say, and also identify what the person is trying to say, right? When people feel like they are heard, when people feel like they matter, when people feel as if you are getting it, you're getting what it is that they're saying, you're picking up their vibe, they'll be more inclined to working more closely with you. They'll be more inclined to giving more information. And oftentimes it can resolve a lot of these roadblocks that we experience when we work with people. So see other people's perspective. Many times, and this is going to go into our next point in a minute, many times we just want to be right and it's all about our way. No. In order to influence people, right? So we're talking about emotional intelligence. In order to influence people and also lead effectively, it doesn't mean that you know all the answers, okay? You're not God Almighty. There are other people who have different perspectives, and be open to that, because that recommendation, that tip can be the most powerful ingredient that can take your business, or can take what you are working on together on a shared mission to the next level. And so that's important. The last point is, just to piggyback off of what we just mentioned, is to be a servant. Now that may seem weird. How to influence people and lead effectively, right? But in many cases, the greatest person often adopts the mindset of a servant. Now, I'm a believer in Christ, and many times in the scriptures, Christ would often say that in order to be great, one must be willing to serve individuals. When we look at many of the great men and women in society, they've implemented great solutions, but they have always seen themselves as a servant, not a boss, not a boss. So we hear rap music about boss. We hear all of these things in social media and memes about being a boss. But in order to effectively meet people's need, okay, to lead them effectively, to influence them, you cannot adapt a totalitarian boss perspective. One ought to adopt the perspective of a servant, willing to roll up their sleeves and help those individuals. So I remember one time I had an issue, and I went to my manager and I tried everything. I was having some risks on this software project that I was managing, and I pointed out some of the strategies I exhausted, and I asked him for some help. He told me, well, Richard, since you mentioned all that, I want you to make note of about 2 to 3 things that you can do that can solve this problem. And so I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, the reason why I'm coming to you is because I'm in a roadblock situation. But he didn't want to be a servant. He wanted to be a boss, okay? So do you think that I was willing to respect him? Not necessarily. Do you think that I was willing to be influenced by him? No, not necessarily. He didn't want to help me. And so the more effective approach would be for him to say, well, Richard, this could be something that you can do, or this could be something that you can do. And so when we work with people, when we interact with people, let's also, in being a servant, right, let's pay attention to how we speak to people. We're going to wrap up in a minute. It's not what you say. It's not the content of what you say. It is how you and I say it. When you say something in a very strong pitch, or your body language is like this, right? Or you're speaking to someone, maybe someone on your team, you tell them to have a seat while you're standing up. No, have a seat. You can't be standing over, lording over people. When we adopt the approach of being a boss and not a servant, it's very counterproductive because people don't respect you. People don't respect you. They feel as if you're not invested in helping them accomplish a goal. When we roll up our sleeves and are willing to work effectively and help people, we will be servants, and we will have a better outcome in terms of influencing people and getting to the desired result that we're looking for. So those are the things that we just want to wrap up with. So emotional intelligence is very, very important. It's not about just being so intelligent, having high IQ. IQ alone is not enough. Emotional intelligence is very, very critical when working with people. The next thing, empathize with others, right? See other people's perspective. You're not always right. You don't know all the answers, right? Other people have a lot to give. And so put yourself in the shoes of those people and try to see things from that person's viewpoint, because that may just be the missing ingredient to making great, great sauce. And the last point is be a servant. Be a servant. Serve the industry that you're working for. Serve the people you're working with, right? And when you're a servant, you get good results back. People will respect you. You'll have influence, and you won't have very, very tense situations in working towards a common goal. Thank you very much for your time.